everyone, welcome to Daybreak Stories, the sub-series of Daybreak dedicated to telling what happens behind the scenes and on set of the talk show. So, let's get started. It is episode, I don't even know, it's episode 4, season completed, what's next? Let's get started. Now, I really just I forgot what episode it was. It's episode 4, so we've had 3 episodes already. I'm very happy with them. I did make an editing error in episode 2, which was actually released yesterday. Today is November 5th, I think. I'm not sure. The quarantine is just blowing my mate. Okay, yes, it's November 5th. So I'm trying to film these early so I can edit them as good as possible. Obviously, that didn't happen with the past episode. But I'm trying to make sure that these all look really good and they're presentable to the viewer. And again, these are not available on Instagram, so if you're watching this on YouTube, then that's the only place you can really watch it. I mean, they are linked on the website, which will be linked in the description, but it's only available on YouTube. By the way, we have on the website, we have a new feature. It's we have a couple new features on the website, but the main one is reviews. So if you're watching this and you think highly of the show or negatively of the show, either one, please leave a review because it will help me make the show better. Or just changing it. And you can also, in the reviews, you can leave a suggestion. You don't have to say it was good or bad. You can just say, hey, I suggest you do this. And we can add that in there. Also, an announcement. I realized when I first started Daybreak Stories that I said that we'd be doing like a behind-the-scenes sort of thing where like I film an actual episode of Daybreak. And it's, you'll get to see me do it. Like I'll put a camera probably over here somewhere. And you'll get to see me sitting in front of the iPad with the whole sound and lighting setup. You can see what I actually have to go through and everything, my setup around me. Because you can't see that right now. But the issue is that we're not having a Daybreak episode for a while. Now, what I'm considering maybe doing like a Thanksgiving special, but I don't think so. Just because the pandemic has really affected school, and school was one of the main places that advertise, and I'm not in school. I mean, I'm doing school, but I'm not technically in it, so I can't really advertise if I'm not there, and that's an issue. So you'll find out about that. I'll probably post on the website. It'll be under upcoming events. Probably be listed there if that ever happens. If it doesn't happen, you won't see it. But I haven't decided anything right now. I haven't even talked about this idea to my staff. So you're watching me think out loud here. So lucky you. Anyways, to get on with the actual episode, it's season completed, what's next? Now, what do I mean by that? Well, we've had 5 seasons on the show. When we go into the next round of Daybreak, that'll be the 6th season, which I'm very happy about, to make it 6 seasons. Well, we made it 5 seasons, then going into our 6th. But, episode 1, I was talking about episode 1 on the last episode 2. Of Daybreak Stories, but episode 1 of Daybreak was interesting. I explained why. It was Easter and the whole kerfuffle. And then you'll see some complications with episode 2/3. That'll be coming out this Sunday, which is November 8th. And this will be coming out on the 11th, so you'll see this 3 days afterwards. But yeah, so just a brief description of what happened if you missed the last episode. It is available, so go watch it, but I'll give it to you now. Basically, and we had to set up a lot of new rules because of episode 2/3. Because just a lot of things were said that I don't think were very age appropriate. And I wanted to institute a lot of rules to help protect that from happening. One of the rules was no religion. Another one was no politics. This actually came up later, and that was you have to show your face on camera. We have no criticizing groups of people, and no swearing. So those were the rules instituted because of that episode. Not all because of that episode, but the majority of them because of that episode. I think 3 out of the 5 are because of that episode. We never had a problem with religion, but we did have one issue with swearing, and that's all in detail in that episode. So please go check that out when it comes out. If you're watching it, if you're watching this episode, it's already come out, so please go take a look at it. It's episode 3, and that's called New Rules. But to get on with this episode, as I was describing season 1, so we had episode 1/2, we had episode 2/3. it's a whole thing that's already been described in a previous episode, so I'm not going to get into that. Then we had episode 4, 3/4. No, again, 3/4 because we've only had 3 episodes in season 1, and that's because we combined the one at first and second episode into the first episode. So it was the 3rd episode we made, but it was the 4th planned episode. That's the best way I can describe it. And again, this was a half an hour. This was still a half an hour show. So it's still pretty early on in the development phase. It's like one of those games where they release to the public to play, but they're not fully done developing it. So things change a lot. That's what season 1 was like. It was the very early stages of Daybreak, and we eventually just changed it over time, and then we finally came out with... I would guess that season 5 was the completed Daybreak. We got this. We got the whole video thing down. We got all the games, and they're showing the slides and everything down. So we got all that stuff down. So I'd say that season 6 was the whole... season 5 was this is it. This is not for everyone. It's done being developed. But season 1, as I was saying, is interesting because, again, it was a 30-minute show. We still had 2 guests in the game, but actually the game wasn't at the end. The game was anywhere I wanted to put it. There wasn't really... So, if you take a look at now, actually on the website, I'm going to pull up the website here so I can read it, but you can take a look at this if you want to. It'll be linked in the description. On the website, it's linked under Daybreak General Information. It says, usually 2 guests in one game. Guest 1, guest 2, and then game with guest 2. So that's actually written there. That wasn't the case at the end in season 1. I could put the game after guest 1, I could put the game after guest 2. It just depended on, frankly, I'm not going to lie, who I liked better, who I thought would get more fun out of the game. So if I didn't really love that's a bad way of putting it. If I didn't know my guest, it's more like if I didn't... I guess that would be one way to put it. If I didn't know my guest as well as I knew my other guests. So, for example, if I knew guest 1 more than I knew guest 2, depending on what person I think would... It's very... My thinking... Sorry, I'm going to give you a real example here. Grace Maroney and Ben Gaynor. Both these people I know very well. I know Grace more. But that wasn't the reason why I gave the game to Grace. The reason why I gave the game to Grace was because I thought that I've known Grace longer, and I think that we'd get a better reaction out of Grace. While we would get a reaction out of Ben, I just don't think it would have been that entertaining. Not to take anything away from Ben. Ben's a very nice person. He's one of my good friends. It's just I thought Grace would have been better with the game, so I gave the game to Grace. Now, that's not the only reason why I'd put a game there. Sometimes, depending on the order of guests, if I have a group of guests that are particularly iffy, in that I don't know how they would react in an environment where I'm literally interviewing them. And sometimes if you have someone on who you've known, who you think will do really well, they give you one word answers because they're scared, because they don't know the questions. That's something also that the viewers, I think I've mentioned this a lot on the show, but you guys might not know this. I don't give my questions to the guests. I interview them, and the reason why I don't is I want an authentic reaction. I went through this, so this will come up in a later story, but when Riley Kravinger was the host for one section of a show, she did not give me her questions. Because the rule of Daybreak, the main rule, there are obviously the rules I'm talking about, but the founding principle, that's not a bad way of putting it, but the thing that is most interesting about Daybreak is I do not give anything to the guests. I might give them the game we're playing, but I don't give them what's going to be in the game, how the game works, the components or anything. I just tell them, for example, if I have Grace Maroney on again, I'd probably say, hey Grace, we'll be playing favorites. I'm not going to tell you. I'm not going to tell her what the favorites are. And I say, you want to come in for an interview? Yes, good. Come in for the interview. I do not tell her the questions because I want an authentic reaction. If they know the question, it's like studying for a test. Well, you don't know what's on the test. You know what the test's about. You know this and this and this. I didn't even tell what the subject is. It's like if I'm taking a math test and we've been learning about fractions. I study how to multiply fractions together, divide them, subtract them, and add them. So I know how fractions work, generally. And so I study that, and I go for the test, and I fill everything out to the best of my knowledge and to the best of my recollection. On Daybreak, if I give you the question or the subject, you're gonna try and prepare answers. You're gonna try and prepare statements or jokes or something. I don't want you to prepare anything. I want it to be relaxed. I want it just to come from inside you. I want you it just to. Oh my God, my brain's on a track now. I want it to flow out naturally. If anyone gets what I'm getting at, then bravo. But I want your reaction to be authentic. Is basically what I'm getting at. And I think in the first season, I think I gave people questions. I'm like, here's what your thing's going to be about. So like I asked you, this changed also in season 5. I gave them the subject. So if I had Grace on, I said, hey, we'll be talking about your love for movies and the fact that you want to write movies when you get older. With Riley, I said, let's talk about COVID-19. Same thing with Connor and Owen. And with Owen, the other Owen who was on, Owen Sadowski, I said, let's talk about Warhammer and sex. I actually gave him his questions. So they could prepare their answers. That changed in about season 2. But when we got to season 5, I stopped doing that. I said, you know what? I'm not going to tell you anything. I want it to just come from the heart or whatever. I want it to just be authentic. So I didn't tell them anything. I just said, you want to come for an interview? Sure. Perfect. I might ask them, like, I had Maeve Ross on. And sometimes I do tell them the topic if the topic isn't too revealing. And especially if it's very broad. So I told Maeve Ross, hey, you want to come on and talk about school? It's a very broad topic. You can't really study for that. You can't really prepare anything for that because you don't know what aspect of school I'm talking about. Same thing with every guest that we've talked about with school. I've said, hey, let's talk about school. That's all I said. And when I say, you want to talk about how Dover Sherborne's reopening plan worked when it came to this. And I said, do you want to talk about school? That's basically all I said. So I got an authentic reaction, especially if you watch TJ Monica's episode. TJ is a consistently great guest. We've had him on twice. I want to have him on more because he's just absolutely amazing. We have a fun time every time we've talked. Especially an episode, I don't remember what episode he was in, but he was season finale in season 2. Because you talked about theater, we had theater episodes back to back. He was with Morgan Lanham. So, that's a distinctive moment, because that'll be another thing, Daybreak Topics. That'll be another story, because it's very interesting how Daybreak is set up. I didn't know it happened until I started color coding the episodes into, like, topic colors, and then I found, like, the similarities between the episodes and, like, the different, like, phases Daybreak went through. But we'll get into that in the later story. But I had TJ Bonica on and the season finale of season 2, and in that episode he was a really good guest. He gave in-depth answers. He was a really good guest. And that's another example of topics. I told them, you want to talk about theater. Again, very broad. So I asked him actually a question before the show. What shows have you been in? And he gave me a list of shows. So I might ask a guest a question to help me ask them questions, but I'll never give them my questions. And I had TJ Bonica on again in season 5, but there's so many episodes. There are so many, but there was 8 episodes in season 5. He was either in episode 3 or 4. I'm not sure. I think I'm gonna say episode 3. Actually, I can check. I think it's episode 3, but I could be completely wrong here. I have the website next to me, so I can just look it up. I try to remember all the episodes and the guests that are in that episode, so usually I can guess most of them. But sometimes I just don't remember. I'm gonna play a game here. If it's not season 3, something will happen. Let's see here. 1. It is 3. I was right. Ha. Okay. So yeah, this is season 5, episode 3. Who did we have with him? Oh yeah, Bianca Anderson. She was a 2-time guest as well. Both of them great. Bianca had technical issues in the episode she was in, so we had to bring her back. Because one, she was a great guest, but we didn't really get a lot out because it kept getting interrupted. We had to restart. We didn't restart the live, but we had to restart her as a guest multiple times, like exit her from the show, bring her back in. I think we did that like 3 or 4 times during the show. It was an issue. And that was the first episode, actually, that I edited. And that's actually good for this. Hold on. I don't know if that's another story. I'm figuring this out as I go along. For those who don't know anything about Daybreak Stories, this is all off the cuff. I'm not planning any of this. It's supposed to feel personal and non-very... That's the reason why I'm not wearing a suit, because, this is my normal clothes. If this seems a little preppy for you, then whatever. Okay, that is another episode. That's in 2 episodes. That's episode 7, YouTube and editing, so I won't get into that. But yeah, she required a lot of editing because it just kept cutting out, so I had to try and splice things together to make her sentences make sense, and that episode was not a very long episode. Unfortunately. It was a really good episode, but it didn't really work out, unfortunately. But we had her back, so that's good. Anyways, I went way off topic. Yeah, but TJ Bianca was a great guest, and I didn't tell him his answers beforehand. So that's one difference with season 1 and the rest. And then with season 1 and 2, I'll definitely... I actually got rid of the videos on my iPad, but they were very interesting because when I created the trailers for season 1 and season 2, the experience was different because with season 1, I had no images of guests or of the show, so I had to I had to do screenshots of things on like Google Slides and just splice things in there. I actually think, I don't know if it was a good thing, not a good thing, a good trailer, but it just brings back a lot of memories, so I favor that one a lot. But season 2, I think, is the best trailer that we have. I just think that the comedy in the trailer, so actually, that's another thing I did, that I carried over from season 1. I try to keep my trailers comedic. Didn't really work out in season 3, but it did work out in season 1, 2, and 4. There was no trailer for season 5. That changed. I don't think we'll be doing trailers from now on just because they take a lot of work and they don't really do anything. They're fun, but the music, there's just templates and it's easy to tell, just they're low quality. I don't love them anymore, but I like watching the old ones. So if you watched the season 1 trailer, there was comedy like proof that I need attention, and all this other thing. So there's like these little bits in there that were funny bits. So proof that I need attention, for the intro, like the that's the intro song we had before everything. That was like a bad idea or something like that. I don't really remember what... Oh, hold on, let me check, because, again, this is probably going to be in the trailer as part of the thing. But I would say that... Because that kept through it. So, like, in the season 1, we had, like, why... Oh, yes, why does this exist? No. I don't even know anymore. I'm going insane. That's... What is this? Season 1, 2, 3, whatever. I don't know. Who cares? It might be bad, but this is a bad idea. I think that's what it is. I think this is a bad idea. Or this is a terrible idea or something like that. It was supposed to be comedic. I'm elaborating too much, but we had little pieces of that in there. And then in season 2, we got this is an even worse idea to go through a season 2. Then we had things like, oh yes, why does this exist? Multiple people like a review in there. Ignoring the critics with music. It was fun. With season 3, it was kind of a flop. It didn't really work well. But in season 4, we had some funny moments in there. We had Nicholas freaking Sadowski. And people didn't want to see it anymore, so what's left to do? Keep even more Daybreak. They're just these funny little moments. And that kept through with season 1. And they're actually fun. So I'm going to play it on my side computer over here, but you guys are going to see the actual video on the screen. So please enjoy the season 1 and 2, since we're just going to do season 1 and 2, the season 1 and 2 commercials. So that was the season 1 and season 2 trailers. Again, I really do like the season 2 trailer more, but season 1 brings back a lot of memories. So, anyways, let's continue with the story. I feel like I need to sit in the chair with a book and just start like flipping through pages. And then Daybreak was this, and then it was all happily ever after. I just feel like I need to do that. Anyway, continuing. But so I would say that a lot of things carried over from season 1 to season 2, and I'd say that I think my mindset at the time was every season there'll be a new addition. So with season 2, the addition was either playing like clips or showing things on camera. So for example, that stayed throughout the entire show. So that decision stayed through the entire show, which is why we have guest cards. These are things we show during the show to represent we have a game going on. And the same thing goes with during the Alexander Duvall interview in season 3. Season 3, episode 3, I think it was. We showed her book cover. It was an image during the thing. With Abigail Keefe, we played her music over the show. So she wrote a song called The Crown Jewels, and I put the speaker next to the thing and I played a part of her song The Crown Jewels over the show, and I thought that went really well. Although the sound was a little bit tough, you could hear everything well, it was clear enough, but I thought it went well. So that decision, while it wasn't made in the transition from season 1 to season 2, it was made in the last episode of season 1, so I still consider it one of those new things. Her episode was episode 4 of season 1. Yeah, and she was with oh my gosh, Layla Bailey. So Layla Bailey had her episode with Abby Keefe. We both talked about music in that episode. I played music in both their clips. I played Layla's music during hers and Abby's music during hers. And actually, that clip of in the season 2 trailer where someone was like laughing with their hair back, that's Abby. I got that from her. She laughed a lot during the interview. It was a very fun interview. She's one of my favorite guests too. And actually, if I have to list my favorite guests, it'd be Abby Keefe. This is not in order. Abby Keefe, Grace Maroney, T.J. Barnica, Natalie Lacey. I say that those are the best guests I've had. Not saying that the other ones are bad, worse. I mean, worse and like they're terrible. It's just those are the best guests that I've had on the show. Natalie Lacey was very fun. She was open. She laughed a lot. Same with Abby. Abby was open and laughed a lot. TJ was just a joy to have. And Alex Versa. We went off topic, but it was still fun and funny. It was light. Grace Maroney we've had on like 4 or 5 times. Oh yeah, 5 times. I don't think she came on in season 3 or 4, but we had her on twice in season 5 for the reason that... Actually, that's another story. I won't get into that. And that's a general rule, too, is not to have... For me, not for the guests, but for me, not to have the same guest come on. The original rule was not to have the same guest come on in the span of 2 seasons. So that would mean that if they came on in season 1, they would not be allowed to come on in season 2, but then they'd be open to come on in season 3. But they wouldn't be the first person considered for a spot. That changed because finding guests is difficult. I mean, while 4 episodes doesn't seem like a lot, that's 8 guests per season. And we've done, we've had 5 seasons, but we've had, season 1 was 4 weeks, season 2 is 4 weeks, 3 4 weeks, 4 4 weeks, and then 5 was 2 weeks. So we've had a total of 6 weeks. 6 weeks times 8 guests, that's 42 guests. And actually, in the last episode of Daybreak, we had 3 guests. So it's around 42 because we've had guests come on once and then we've had weird switching things. So I'm just gonna say it's around 40 guests. We've had around 40 guests on the show, which is absolutely amazing. And so I had to change the general rule because it's difficult to find 40 guests, and because those 40 guests were not different guests. So Grace Maroney is 4 of those, T.J. Barnica is 2, Ben Gaynor is 3, Riley Krivinger is 4, I think. So we've had repeat guests because I can't find enough guests in time. Because again, this isn't like a Jimmy Fallon or a Conan. I mentioned this, they pay their guests to come on. I can't pay anyone. I can't really incentivize anyone. I'm just like, hey, do you want to come on this show? And sometimes you hear no. I actually heard no a little while back when I was trying to plan for season 5. I asked, I'm not going to say their names, but I asked a couple people if they want to come on because they are really nice people and I thought they did interesting things in their lives. So I asked them if they want to come on and they said no. So, I mean, it's perfectly fine to say no. It's just then I have to find other people, and usually I'm scrambling sometimes before an episode. But, yeah, so that rule actually changed after season 1 because I just couldn't find enough people. A thing that changed eventually after season 1 was planning. In terms of... No, season 5, I didn't plan at all. I mean, I planned a little... I think I planned a couple episodes, but I usually plan the episodes during the week before the episode films. So, like, if I was going to film episode 9 of season 5, if we ever were to do that, and that would be coming out this Sunday, I would start preparing now. It wasn't a great setup. I'm going to definitely change it during the summer. But that changed. So season 1, that didn't happen. Season 1, I planned out the entire season before the first episode. So season 1, 2, 3, and 4 were all planned before the first episode even filmed. The issues with this style, and the reason why I didn't do it with season 5 is because, 1, season 5 was expanded to have 8 episodes. You can't see my hands, they're all the way out here. But in case a person canceled at the last minute, I wouldn't be able to find a guest in time. Now, the reason why I didn't do it this way is because if I'm already planning, because it works to do that way if you're only having a span of maybe 4 weeks, because you very, very rarely do plans change during the summer in 4 weeks. Now, season 5 was the first season where it was during school. So that already caused some complications. So you can't really plan 4 weeks ahead. So I think I planned 2 full episodes that would last me into school. Then you can't really plan 3 weeks ahead. So during the week before the show, it's a good idea to plan, because they already have a picture of what's happening that week, because it's that week. So it's more convenient for you to ask them the week of than asking them 3 weeks prior, because they won't really know what's happening until that week. So, yeah. Now, in terms of other things, let's see, what else has changed in Season 1? Season 1, I mentioned the guest. The show is expanded to 45 minutes. The guests have expanded to 20 minutes. That was a change. Season 2, right? Midway through Season 2? I'm not sure. I'll have to look it up later. But I think it definitely was in place in Season 3. I don't know. I might have been halfway through Season 2. I'm not exactly sure. But yeah, so the guest segments were now 20 minutes each, and the game was now definitively usually at the end. I think we've had a couple circumstances where I didn't put it at the end, but that has rarely been the case. I might have done it with Owen Sadowski. I might have done it with... I think I did it with Riley Kravinger, actually. And that was on... That might have been Season 3. I think I put it in between. I don't know. I can't remember. But I think it was with Riley Kravinger, because we did Would You Rather. I think I remember having to shuffle some things around with that. It was weird. But eventually, one of these games, I've actually just developed this game for next summer. It's, actually, I just came with a better name for it, but, let's see here. The game is called, and again, actually, this is actually new to the website. I put all of the games in there, so it's under Daybreak Activities, so you can play the games at home. It's called Make Me. So, before the interview starts, okay, there's a typo. You dare me to do something for the entire conversation, I do the same thing for the guest. So, for example, I dare you to pronounce all of the H's in words, like in what or white. So, what or white. So that'd be something you would do. So that's new. So that would change the way I've been doing things, where you'd have to play the game before the interview. We'd be doing it during the interview, but it's different. So, anyways. But this is going to be a longer episode, I think, for Daybreak Stories. But I think that's everything that has happened because of Season 1. This will come up in the finale, not in the finale of Daybreak Stories, but in the episode entitled, I think it's entitled The Finale. It's called The Finale / the End. And that refers to the last episode of Daybreak. The first episode of Daybreak, as I mentioned, is in Wednesday's episode. Was last Wednesday, if you're watching this Wednesday, which would be November 11th. On November 4th, the episode was about the first episode. But that episode is an hour long because of Easter. And because of that, I wanted to sort of mimic that. So I made the last episode an hour long. And that episode had 3 guests, 3 games. It was an hour long, 10-minute guest segments, 5-minute games per guest, leaving me 15 minutes to do whatever I wanted. So it was meant to pay homage to the first episode. But yeah, I think that's all the effects of Season 1 that have radiated to other seasons. The guest numbers haven't changed. I mean, the only guest number that have changed is the final episode, but that's something different. So, we've sometimes had, it's not because of Season 1, but we've sometimes have had guests on for the entire show. So with Alexandra Duvall, we had her on for the full 45 minutes. That was a purposeful one-guest show. Sometimes there have been accidental one-guest shows, like with Riley Kravinger, she went for 45 minutes. That was an accident. I think that's the only time it's ever happened on accident. It almost happened a couple of times in season 5, but we caught that our guest saved us at the last minute there. So, and that will be an episode for another day. But this story, I think I've told all there is to tell. So thank you for watching Daybreak Stories. If you have any questions, please leave them in the reviews section, or leave them in the questions section, which is also on the viewer interaction page on the Daybreak website, which will be linked in the description. Next week's episode will be On a Roll, which will be coming out November 15th, which is a Sunday. So yeah, thank you so much for watching Daybreak Stories. If you have any suggestions, please leave them. There's a tab on the Daybreak Stories and on the Daybreak website. Everything on the Daybreak website. So if you have any questions about anything, like anything whatsoever, refer to the website. It's all there. But yeah, thank you so much, and I'll catch you on Sunday, because today's Wednesday. When you're watching this is so confusing. You know what? I'm just going to say the date now. I'll catch you on November 15th for that episode. Thank you for watching. Goodbye, everyone. Oh my God.